Hi, all my live Becky K fans out there. Trying to get this light. Okay, there we go. That's a little better. All right, I'll put this here. Maybe that'll. Okay, I guess that's better. All right, maybe I should do that beforehand, but I never do. But anyway, hi, I'm back. I'm here. I'm live. I'm ready. Let's go. Hit subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your dad. Tell your brother. Tell your sister. Tell your aunt. Tell your uncle. Tell you whoever you want to tell. Your dog. Your cat. Anybody that can hit subscribe, like, recommend, send it to your friends. To your family. Anyhow, today I'm going to be talking about prescription drug commercials. They are do they think people are that stupid? One of the biggest pet peeves I have with those commercials are they tell you all the good stuff it can do. Then at the end, it tells you all the dumb shit that it can do, like, oh, I don't know, kill you. And then it tells you the dumbest thing of all: do not take if you're allergic to it. Well, duh. Are you that stupid that you would take something that you're allergic to? Don't take if you're allergic to this. That would be like, oh, I'm allergic to peanuts. Don't eat a peanut if you're allergic to it. Uh, duh. You're not going to take it unless you got a death wish. That's kind of obvious. When you're taking your medication, you're not going to take something. People that are allergic to penicillin, they don't take penicillin. So you don't have to tell a person that's allergic to penicillin, if you're allergic to penicillin, don't take it. That's not just duh. These are just, I don't understand these commercials. That's one of my biggest pet peeves when I hear that on that commercial. And you hear they're constantly on. I don't get it. Our as our society gotten that stupid that we have to say that on every commercial? Are we that dumb as a society? I really think we are. We have gotten that stupid on society that we have to put that on every commercial. Just like warning labels. The warning labels on things are so ridiculous nowadays. I think we should remove warning labels off of everything. Because if you're that stupid to do some of the retarded crap that is on warning labels, then you know what? Survival of the fittest. Maybe we get some of the retarded ass people off the earth. Oh, oops, said the R word. Dumb, is that better? I will say dumb. Get the dumb people off earth. Because apparently, if you're too dumb not to use an aerosol can around an open flame, then apparently don't use aerosol. Just don't use spray. If you're putting on spray deodorant around a campfire, then apparently you need your armpit hair singed off. You're that dumb. Just saying. I have a lot of pet peeves and stupid questions that people ask you. I was in high school. My grandmother died. So I didn't go to school for a few days because we had to go to Virginia to her funeral. I came back to school after being off. My friends came up to me and was like, "Oh, why were you out of school?" And I was like, "I had to go to my grandmother's funeral." One dumb friend in every bunch apparently goes, "Oh, did she die?" I just sit here and told you I went to my grandmother's funeral, and you're going to ask me, did she die? So, me being the smart aleck that I've always been, didn't miss a beat. Pops back with, oh, no. We just decided that, hey, we all had free time. We would go ahead and have her funeral now, just in case when she died at an inconvenient moment for us, the funeral will be out of the way. She didn't get it. Huh? I'm just like, oh my goodness. Yes, honey, boo boo, she died. That's why we had her funeral. That's what funerals are for. When someone dies, you have a funeral. Oh, yeah, that's right. Bless her heart. Still friends with her to this day. And she's still just as silly. But I love her. She's a sweetheart. Still just as dingy as ever. Just crazy though. People ask you dumb questions. I don't understand. It's like it's something missing. There's like a filter. It's missing from the brain to the mouth. Things just fly out. You don't think. That thinking thing that you don't think before it comes out your mouth. I have a filter kind of like that. Sarcasm just flies out of my mouth. People will ask me questions, and if it's a dumb question, yeah, you're probably going to get a dumb answer back. My husband had somebody get in his car the other day and they got mad and they were just running their mouth being really ugly. So, him being the person that he is, he pulls over and said, "Get out." And they wanted to carry on talking about, oh, yeah, you, blah, 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 this, riding in a pink car, blah, blah, blah. And I told my husband, I said, "You should have told him, don't get it twisted. It ain't pink, it's plasma purple." My husband's just like, no. I said, I'd have told him, "Listen, don't get it twisted. It is plasma purple. It is not pink." But yeah, my husband doesn't do the sarcasm thing, which I do. And sadly enough, I've kind of passed it on to our children, and they sort of do the same thing. Sometimes it gets them into a little bit of hot water, especially in school. So I've kind of had to tell them, reel it back in a little bit, especially with teachers. And I know teachers don't mean to, but sometimes they'll say some stuff, and you just be like, that filter is not there sometimes, and sometimes you speak before you think, and then you're just like, "Oh my Jesus, did that just fly out my mouth?" Oops. Sort of gets them in hot water. They went to school in a rural area. I will not name the name of the area because if I did, a lot of people would know it. And then, yeah, not going to tell you, but it was in a rural area in Kentucky. And my children were always seemed to be in trouble on the bus. And being because my children are a little darker, um, they have Native American in their bloodstream, and they're a little darker. My husband's a little darker. Um, he has that Native American in him, and so they look tan. And they would always pick on them, and they were really racial there. I've never taught my children to see color. Um, it's a skin color. It doesn't define you as a person. And I think that is ignorant and just shows your stupidity when you are racist and you see a color. It should not matter. And due to that, the bus driver would always, it was always they were starting something. It didn't matter that the other kids were running their mouth and saying stuff. And because my children didn't just sit there and take it, that they would say something back. It was always my children were the ones that were instigating or running their mouth or something. And it was like, well, then take care of the problem. My children are not the problem. Take care of the issue. But they didn't want to do that. So we moved, and that my children were in trouble. Because when we moved, we didn't move to a racist school. They rode the bus, never an issue on the bus, because the race issue was not the problem. That's what happens when you move into a redneck racist town. So, FYI, if your children look mixed or have any color in their bloodstream or their skin pigments, don't move to a racist town because they will get the raw end of the stick every time. Because, oh, the lily white children are never in the wrong. Me and my husband watched a movie last night, um, The Free Jones Free State, something like that. I'm not good with names, so I can't remember. It's somewhere around that title. It's really good. Matthew McConaughey stars in it. And I just could not fathom having to live. I mean, it's bad enough now, things that happen. And, there is still things that happen. I'm not going to say things don't happen. But if these young thugs had to live in the way that those people lived back then, they would realize things are not as bad as what they think they are. There was racism, and it wasn't just the blacks against the whites. It was whites against whites back then also, because if you were poor and you didn't have money, you were just as low as everyone else. And there were white slaves, because the ones that were fighting against um, wanting to keep slaves, they were the ones that were the plantation owners that had money. And they were going around to these poor white people that had these little small farms, and they were taking everything they had. They were taking their crops, they were taking what little bit that they had, the little things. Like, they went to this one place, and they had like 3 pigs. That was all they had, 3 hogs and a little bit of cotton. And it was a woman, and she had 3 little girls, and her husband was off to war because they made them go to war. And they took everything she had. They were supposed to only take 10%, but they didn't even leave her 10%. They took everything. And like she told them, she said, if you take this, we're going to starve. We're not going to make it through winter. And you know what? They didn't care because she was poor. And they treated her just the same as they did the slaves. And this guy, Matthew McConaughey, he played Nathan Knight. And he left the war. He became a deserter because he didn't agree with what was going on. He's like, I'm not fighting in a war that's making the rich richer and the poor poorer. And these black people, the colored people, they don't deserve this. And so at one part in it, and I don't agree with the N word, but in one part in it, he was a runaway because he was a deserter, and he was with some runaway slaves, these black men, and they were so funny. And he asked one of the black men, he said, "Are you a nigger?" And the black guy said, "No, I'm not." And he goes, "Why is that?" And he said, "Because I'm a child of God." And he said, "I'm free." And he said, "What makes you free?" He said, "Because a child of God can't be a slave." It was really funny. And during one of the parts, some of the other men had decided they were going to be deserters too. And they all came. They were living in the swamps because the military couldn't get to them in the swamps. And they had roasted a pig, and all the white deserters, they were eating and everything. And some of the black men were, because Nathan was like, hey, there ain't color. We're all the N word. And one of the guys, the deserters, he still didn't like the black people. And he told the guy, he said, he called him in the N word. He said, "Nigger, that's not for you." Because he was over there getting some meat, putting it in a handkerchief and wrapping it up to share. And he said, "What?" And he said, "I said, nigger, that's not for you. Put it back." And he said, "Ain't you one?" And that white guy goes, "Excuse me?" And he goes, "I said, ain't you one?" He said, "What's that supposed to mean?" And Nathan gets up and he goes, "He said, what he said was, you're a nigger too. You're out there fighting a war for these plantation people so they can get richer. They're taking everything you got, so you a nigger too." I cracked up laughing. I thought I was gonna roll off my bed laughing. It was so funny because it's true. They treated those poor white people the same as they were treating the slaves, so there was no difference. And that is the thing that I don't understand, that people, I think that they need to show that kind of a movie. They show the movie Roots in schools, but what they really need to show, they need to show this kind of movie in the schools to let these kids know there were white people that were no different than the black people. So that way these kids can get this out of their mentality that all white people were slave owners, because that was not true. White people were just the same as them, and they were killed just the same as them. They didn't care about them. They were they were they were calling them in lovers and everything else. I mean, it was bad for them too. So when you're out here, young people, and I'm especially talking to colored young people, when you're out here thinking, oh, you white people are all the same, you were slave owners, you're people this, you're people that, that isn't true. Not all white people were slave owners. Some of us were just the same as you. We were scrapping and fighting to get rights and to get the same as you. We were treated the same. We were whipped. We were made work. We were not paid fairly and equally. We didn't have anything. Living in the swamps, and that was a true story. Laying our head in the swamps, the same, together. And they fought side by side to gain equality. And oh, that movie it touched my heart, because it was just, and some things that went on in that movie was just, oh my God, it broke my heart. And then it shows like a little bit up into like the 50s and stuff. It shows some things that went on with the ancestors and stuff, and some things it's a really good movie, and I recommend watching it. And young people, you need to watch that. If you're out here thinking that all white people are bad because no, watch that movie and you're going to see what really happened. I mean, Roots is a good movie, don't get me wrong, because I watched that too and it broke my heart. But watch that movie and you're going to see things that went on. And yeah, there was some white men and women that were wrong and did some wrong things. And they treated those people terrible. But you know what? I'm not going to pay for something that someone else did. I didn't do it. My ancestors didn't do it. Why should I be paying for it? Don't look at me and be like, oh, because she's white, she this, that. No, don't look. You don't want me looking at the color of your skin and saying, oh, he's black, so he's this, this, this. So don't look at me and say she's white, so she's this, that. No, it goes both ways. You can't have it one way. It's either one way or the other. You can't have it both ways. You don't want a white person looking at you for the color of your skin and judging you. So don't look at a white person for the color of their skin and judge them for things that happened in the past. It goes both ways. People would be a lot happier if they would just quit worrying about everything that's going on in everybody else's private lives and start worrying about what's going on in their private lives. There would be a lot less hatred and stuff going on. People would be a lot happier with their own lives if people would just be allowed to live their own lives and be happy. Love who you want to love. Be who you want to be. Just leave little kids alone. Don't be messing with little kids. I'm all good. If you're a grown adult, do what you gotta do. Just don't be messing with little kids. I'm good. You do you. I do me. The world would be people would be so much happier. I don't understand people. I don't. If anybody's got any suggestions on that, please let me know. But the world would be so much happier. People would be a lot happier. Quit running around pointing fingers saying this one's wrong, that one's wrong, you're wrong. How do you know? Because why? Because you say they're wrong? What gives you the right to say they're wrong? That's just like this woman. Watched another movie last night. I love movies, especially true stories. The most hated woman on earth. And don't ask me her name because I can't remember it now. Because, like I said, I'm terrible with names. But she is the one that got prayer thrown out of public schools because her and her son were an atheist. And it's a really good movie. Really good movie. Well, now her older son is an activist trying to get prayer back in schools. I have an opinion on that, but of course, everybody has their own opinions. I have a very valid opinion on it, but of course, everybody has a valid opinion on everything they say. But here's my opinion on it. Okay. Her reasoning behind that was at the beginning of school, when they first started their day, they were having the children recite a prayer, bow their heads, and making them verbally recite a prayer. Then they were taking out a Bible and reading and having the children read Bible scriptures. Do I have anything against the Bible? No. I was raised in church. My daddy was an evangelist. We went everywhere he preached the gospel. I sang in the choir. I've worked in churches, done children's church. Okay, I was raised in the Bible Belt. Okay, so I mean, I don't have anything against the Bible. So please, before you think that, okay, but I think that's fine and dandy if you're going to a Christian school. But these are public schools, and we have what's called separation of church and state. Public schools are state, and it is supposed to be separation of church and state. Now, before you Christians start thumping me in the head with the Bible and get your holier than thou fur in a little hissy fit, think about this. You think it's okay? Recite the prayer, read the Bible, and all that for the children to do this. If you're open to that and you think it's okay not to separate church and state, then you have to be open to other religions coming in and praying with your children, having your children recite other religions' prayers, reading out of other religions' Bibles. Are you open to a Satanist coming in and having your children read from the Satanist Bible or recite a Satanist prayer? Are you open to having the Wiccan come in and do a Wiccan ritual or a read out of the Wiccan Bible? Are you open to the Hindu coming in and praying to their gods and reading from their Bible? You got to think about this. If you want these children to do what you want them to do, then you have to be open to having other religions bring their things in to be taught and read to your children. It can't be one-sided because remember, you don't want separation of church and state, and there is more than one church out there now. It is not just one, I understand there's one big G, but there is also little G's out there now. And you have to understand that when you open that door back up, like you're trying to do, then you're going to open that Pandora's box, and a whole world of things are going to be opened up to be taught to your children. So if I was you, I would leave that door shut. Separation of church and state is there for a reason. And if you want your children taught the way you want them taught, the religion you want them taught, then you do that at home, because that's where it's supposed to be at. Religion needs to be taught in the home. And if you have them, you want them to be taught a certain religion, then you do that at home. And on your Sabbath day, you take them to wherever you take them to, whether it be a temple, a synagogue, a church, wherever it is, you teach them that. It's not up to the schools to teach them religion. That's just the way it is. Now, they'll learn all the religion they need to learn when they go to college and they take religion classes. Then they'll learn about all the other religions. But right now, these kids just need to be learning their math, their science, their English, their history, their arts, crafts, all this other things. They don't need to be wrapped up in this religion battle back and forth of who needs to be taught what. No, that's not what the school's for. The school is for their education and their learning, to get their knowledge. If you want them taught religion, you do that at the house. You do that at home. You do that after school. You can do that on the weekends. That is the parents' place. That is not the teacher's place. That is not the school system's place. I'm telling you right now. I am telling you what I know. You better leave that door closed, because once that door's open, a whole world of little Jesus is going to come in there, and you're going to have your hands full with your children, because they're going to be taught some things and they're going to have some questions. And believe me, you're not going to have the answers for them. That's my opinion. And everybody's got their own opinion. But I'm telling you, listen what I'm saying. It's my opinion. I ain't been on this earth this long, and I've been through a lot, and I've heard a lot. And like I've said, raised 10 kids. You learn a lot. Been through a lot. Just take my wisdom. Just mull it over and listen what I'm got to say. It's not the school's place. Those teachers have to do enough without having the battle religion and all that. They don't need that on their plate. That's not their job. The Bible says, train up a child in the way it should go, and when it is old, it will not depart. It doesn't say send them to school unless somebody else do it. That's your job, mamas and daddies. That is not a teacher's job. That is your job. So don't be putting your job off on somebody else. Do it yourself. And these Bible thumpers, and the reason I call them that, because they will beat you in the head with that Bible until they think that you have got it through your head. Quit beating somebody in the head trying to get them to agree with what you've got to say. Jesus never walked the earth thumping somebody in the head with a Bible, telling them, believe this, believe this. No, he came in love, and he told people what he had to say, and he went on. He didn't walk around smacking them upside the head with the Bible going, this is the way it is, this way or no way. He just told them the way it was in love. People respond a whole lot better to love than they do hate. And when people realize this, you're going to go a whole lot farther in life. Let people do what they got to do. Like that woman, I mean, I didn't agree with everything she said, but she made a point on there. She said, if I go to hell, what is that any business of yours? Now, Like she said, if she went to hell, what is that any business of yours? It ain't like, oh my God, she goes to hell, so that means what? You ain't going to get to go to heaven because she went to hell? That's her right. Every person on earth, God gave everybody free will. So if a person wants to go to hell, if they want to believe a certain way, that is their business, and there is nothing you can do to change their mind if they are hell bent on believing whatever they want to believe. You do you and let people do them. Quit trying to bash them in the head with everything. Yeah, that might be hard. You might believe a certain way, and you got a child that might believe a whole nother way than you do, that don't live in your home, and that might be hard. But you know what? That's their business. There is nothing you can do about it. Every time you get with them, you don't have to bring up their subject of religion. If you want to get along with them, y'all just get together, have a good time, be happy, relax. If y'all like to play cards, play cards. If y'all like to watch movies, watch movies. If y'all like to eat, eat. If y'all like to go bowling, go bowling. Do things that y'all have in common that y'all like to do. Stay away from the topics that you know is going to cause problems, and just get along. Just love each other. Quit worrying about the things that don't matter. Yeah, does their soul matter? Yeah. But you know what? Your peace of mind and having a relationship with them, that love is a whole lot more important. Because if these Bible thumpers think about it, if they're reading the Bible that they're thumping, then they would see loves in there. Because the Bible says love. Love, 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 love. That word's in there a whole lot. So apparently they ain't reading the Bible that they're thumping people in the head with. They're just using it as a weapon. Again, that's my personal opinion. But now you've heard from Becky K and so much more. If you got any opinions on it, just let me know. And tell your friends, tell a neighbor, tell somebody that needs to hear that. Let me know. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. It's somewhere on here. I don't know where to point, but it's somewhere on here. Hit the like button. It's somewhere on here too. So subscribe, like, tell your friends, tell a neighbor, tell somebody. And I'll be back.